The governor to take more drastic action to prevent its spread. Right now, there are 288 cases in Maryland. All non-essential businesses are ordered closed as grocery stores, pharmacies, hospitals ramp up their workforce. Our team coverage begins with WJZ investigator Mike Helgren, who says Governor Hogan stopped short of issuing a stay-at-home order.
The governor stresses this is not a stay-in-place order. Although he wants you to stay home, you can still get your essentials like food and medicine.
We try to save lives, and then we try to help save the economy. And that's unfortunately the situation we're in.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan says his new executive order to shut down all non-essential businesses is not a lockdown.
We don't think it's as draconian to lock people in their homes, but to stopping the places where they gather and stopping some of the places where they're going to go is probably a better, smarter action for us.
Among the businesses that can stay open, restaurants for takeout and delivery only, pharmacies, liquor stores, banks, and daycare facilities. Big box retailers can also keep their doors open for now.
Unless you have an essential reason to leave your house, then you should stay in your homes.
Many playgrounds are blocked off, although state parks remain open. Penalties for breaking the executive order include up to a year in prison and a $5,000 fine. The governor says this is what you're likely to see.
Police cars lighting up their sirens and going on their loudspeakers and saying, please disperse.
As of Monday morning, at least 288 people tested positive statewide. FedEx Field will have a drive-through testing site along with 5 vehicle emission centers in Maryland as soon as there are enough testing supplies. Maryland also announced $175 million for small businesses. That includes loans and grants and incentives to manufacture needed supplies like masks and ventilators.
We've heard from many businesses that are frightened and unsure of what to do.
The state will also crack down on price gouging with fines up to $10,000.
Retailers who attempt to exploit this crisis for profit and gain will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
I'm here at the Baltimore Convention Center, which they plan to turn into a makeshift field hospital with the help from the National Guard. It will be run by Johns Hopkins and the University of Maryland Medical System. In Baltimore, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
All right, as Mike mentioned, the governor closed all non-essential businesses, which includes hair salons, clothing stores, as well as barbershops. Our team coverage continues with Amy Kawada with more on the impact on the governor's order. Amy.
Good morning, Max. Well, these tighter restrictions were all made in order to help slow the spread of COVID-19. And many small businesses here closed up shop last night with no clear timeline on when they can reopen. Julie Kloster's been the owner of Charm City Skin for 3 years. Monday, she closed up shop in Hamden, not knowing when she'll be back.
I didn't want to believe it, though. I had higher hopes. We have rent to pay. We have bills to pay.
Julie, like many business owners, locked the doors at 5 p.m. after Governor Hogan's executive order closing all non-essential businesses. To help businesses and nonprofits through this pandemic, the governor also announced new emergency relief efforts, including the $75 million Maryland Small Business COVID-19 Relief Fund. Businesses can apply for up to $50,000 low-interest loans, and the hope is to keep companies on their feet.
These funds can be used by small businesses to pay their employees, their suppliers, their rent, and to cover critical operating costs to help them stay in business.
Julie says all she can do is take it one day at a time.
We honestly don't know right now if we're going to be closed for 2 more weeks or 4 more weeks or 8 more weeks. Hopefully it's only a few more weeks, but you just can't stress about it.
And many big box stores like Target and Walmart will remain open, but local law enforcement will be present to help with crowd control. Reporting live this morning, I'm Amy Kawada for WJZ.
Amy, thank you. Mayor Jack Young issues a similar executive order to Governor Hogan's order to stop the spread of the virus. Let's bring in Mike Hsu now. He has more on what the city's doing to slow down the spread. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Max. Well, the mayor says that he's ordering all non-essential businesses to close. Essential city services are up and running.
Baltimore now has 31 confirmed cases of COVID-19, a number which is expected to rise day by day. The city's health commissioner is now one of the most visible messengers preaching social distancing.
If you and someone standing next to you can extend your arms and touch one another, you are standing too close.
Essential services like trash pickup and public safety will continue. The Maryland National Guard is helping with logistics and food distribution at dozens of sites. This interactive map shows where people can find services. It's even broken down into categories for young people and seniors. Business as usual is changing around the city, and the police commissioner says that his department is reminding groups to spread out.
When we get calls of non-compliance, where there are gatherings of 10 people or more, we are responding to that and dispersing those individuals and educating those business owners on what's actually required.
And the city's fire department is asking people only to call 911 if it is urgent. I'm Mike Shue reporting live at City Hall for WJZ.
Mike, thank you. Senators will be back at the negotiating table today to talk about a $2 trillion stimulus package. More than a third of Americans are being asked to stay home to fight the outbreak. Laura Podesta reports for WJZ.
For the second straight day, the Senate failed to pass a stimulus package to counter the economic fallout from the coronavirus.
The motion is not agreed to.
Republicans were in no mood to hear objections from their Democratic colleagues.
We don't have time for this.
Delay, delay, delay.
Democrats say the bill does not properly address the health crisis at hand.
It includes a large corporate bailout with no protections for workers and virtually no oversight.
At the White House, President Trump said he may urge businesses to reopen next week.
We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself.
But he admitted the medical professionals do not agree.
If it were up to the doctors, they may say, let's keep it shut down. Let's shut down the entire world.
New York is one of more than a dozen states with stay-at-home orders in place. Governor Andrew Cuomo cautioned against underestimating the outbreak.
There'll be some people who say, oh, this is too dire. We don't want this level of disruption. It's not going to be that bad. This is media hype. They are wrong.
Cuomo says New York will soon need 30,000 ventilators.
Everyone is extremely stressed for this coming wave of this disease.
In Galveston, Texas, these two doctors are trying to avoid a ventilator shortage with some ingenuity.
Our response was to create a ventilator that could be assembled in a hospital with hospital supplies.
They're working to fast-track approval of this prototype for use nationwide. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
6 Baltimore County agencies are working together on a social distancing task force. One of those agencies is the police department. Now, Baltimore County police are taking health precautions while doing their duties. Every business or group has been compliant when officers are called to break up gatherings of more than 10 people. Their call centers increased its ability to take reports over the phone, and they might ask callers to step outside to meet with an officer. That's all depending on the nature of the call. Now, Baltimore County woman who tested positive last week echoes the governor's message to stay inside. Karen Fernandez first experienced symptoms 2 weeks ago. Now, she has autoimmune issues, so her doctor actually ordered a test, but it took about a week to get tested after she noticed tightness in her chest as well as fevers and headaches. The 43-year-old says she's feeling much better now, but she can't figure out how she got it.
It can happen to me. It can happen to you or your sister or your grandmother, your best friends. It's passing it on to somebody else that can't. So that's why we have to be mindful and follow these rules.
Now, Fernandez has been working from home since getting sick. She knows other people who've tested positive, too. Stay with WJZ as we follow all the developments in the coronavirus pandemic, both here and across the country. We have everything you need to know.